Drunk Brothers Garage. Gonna be doing a couple things on Goldie today. Um, Biggest one being tackling those new spark plug wires. Uh, Cheers, everybody. Cheers, brother. Sorry you had to work today. Let's get rolling. So I was out doing a little yard work yesterday, and I noticed. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it there. There you go. It's leaking out of the bottom of the fuel pump, and I just think that the spring clip that you use a pair of pliers to grab is just weakened. So I got a worm gear here. I'm going to go ahead and put on there and see if I can stop that leak. I'm also going to go ahead and mark the wires, the old wires, get them pulled off, take them in the garage, and make the new ones to length on the workbench in there. Okay, I got a worm gear up there, or a worm clamp, hose clamp, whatever you want to call them. Dried off the hose, and I'll come out a little later and check if the hose is wet like it was. Then I know I still got a leak. Alright, I got all 8 wires off. I just took some white tape, wrapped them around one end, put the number that I pulled off, made sure I marked number 1 on the distributor just so we had it. But that number 1 cable also, that wire, they're pretty tore up. So it's time. We got the new spark plugs in there. Putting together the wires now. And also, in the time that I've been here, no leaks on the hose, so maybe that worm clamp worked. We'll see. All right, everybody. I got these SQR Performance straight boot plug wires from O'Reilly's for Goldie. Straight boot, because that's what was on there. They're 8.5 millimeter. Got to build your own end. They do come with 2 different style boots. They have the HEI distributor style and then the points coil distributor type. So we don't have an HEI, obviously. So we're gonna go with these guys. The conductors, they provide dielectric. They provide a little QR code to scan for directions. I went ahead, instead of reading them off the phone, I went ahead and printed them out so I can follow along. Should be pretty straightforward. I got the old wires there on the trash can, so I'm just gonna match them up one by one. But I'm gonna probably build one, show you guys. Oh, it provides their crimping block. You're supposed to put this in a vise. I don't have a vise because I'm in my garage, not out at Kenny's garage. So I'm gonna try to crimp it with a big pair, not my biggest pair, but a pair of channel locks. They do say you need a nice good cutter, which I got a pair of lobster claws here, a pair of needle nose, another pair of needle nose, and a sharp knife. The knife is to cut the wires to length. They have 2 holes here, 8 millimeter, 8.5 millimeter. You put the cable through to length. If I can get it to go through. Anyhow, you're supposed to push this through up there, and then you use that as your guide marker to cut while you're rotating the cable around, and then that'll give you the center conductor, a good cut to the center conductor. So we'll test that out, see if it works, and see if we can get these suckers built. First, I'm gonna grab kind of line these out one by one with the lengths. All right, I got them laid out. The 1 and 3 to the 2 new ones, they're the same length. 5 and 7 were the same length, 2 and 4, and 6 and 8 are laying over here, and the coil wire. So I'm just gonna probably start with 1 and do the odds and then work to the evens. Please excuse my lovely bench here that I got going. Like I said, I'm going to start with number 1. This one is, I don't know if you guys can see that. It had some damage, and this is also the one that the element broke off. So definitely need to get these done. But I'll go ahead and get a good length on it. Get it marked for length and probably give it, excuse me, probably give it just a hair extra. So that should go, that would be enough. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. My pair of cutters, nice sharp ones. Except for my cutter did not like cutting that center conductor very well. We'll have to see how that goes from here on out. These instructions say to little dielectric grease and slide the boot on first. That's only for the points boots. The HEI boots they say put on after you do the crimping. These ones they say put on before. Well, that's a pain in the rear. Gotta go get a screwdriver or something. That's a royal pain in the ass. I mean, it just will not. It does say if it uses a small cap points type distributor, use a small amount of dielectric grease in the distributor boot, push the boot over the wire before crimping the terminal onto the wire. Yeah, that would be fantastic if I could get the wire to push through. There's got to be an easy way. I'm just not seeing it. And I don't know if it'll zoom in on there, probably not. But I just can't get it to make the bend. I tried grabbing it with a pair of needle nose, but I just ripped a piece of the stuff off the jacket. I mean, it's like it's welded on there now. It is. And now I can't get it out. Is this dielectric grease or is this glue? What a colossal pain in the ass. I'm sure there's a reason why they say to do this first, so just trying to figure out what that is and try to get this through there. Let me try a different one. Maybe I'll... Gonna try it without the grease too, see? Just see if it'll go better without the grease. And I didn't cut this one to length yet either. Maybe that was my problem. I don't know. I think for right now I'll switch over to time lapse till I get these pulled through. Obviously, I am doing something wrong. I took and jammed the screwdriver through there, and I'm just trying to slide to this through the boot like they say in their instructions, and it just is not... I cannot get that cable to go through that boot, and I have dielectric grease on it. I don't know, you guys tell me. Obviously, I'm doing something way wrong. It's either that or this is, I don't know, these say 8mm and 8.5 universal wire sets. I don't know, maybe the boot's a little smaller than the wire. I don't know, but I cannot, even with the guide, I used a screwdriver to try to straighten out the bend on that boot, and it just will not push through there. And at this point in time, I mean, it's kind of frustrating. Let's put it that way. And I didn't look at this package when I bought it. I thought I was buying a pre-built set of wires, but I didn't. I can't get it through the boot, folks. Don't know. I'm gonna keep working at it. So I still couldn't get the wire through the boot to crimp on later. So the HE style and HEI style ends, they say that you can slide these on after you do the crimping. So I was like, well, maybe I can do this. So I went ahead and crimped one on, and this is supposed to, their little crimp tool is supposed to go in a vise to crimp it, but I used a little C-clamp instead of the pliers. I actually used both, the C-clamp and the pliers, but seemed to work. Got a good crimp. The conductor's in there, folded back, and I'm slowly working this on here. I'm hoping I can do it this way. If I do it this way, then I'm just going to do it backwards from the instructions. Well, it's not perfect, but that worked a lot better, crimping it onto the wire and then feeding the conductor through the boot and then making the bend once I got it through. And that's what I'm talking about there. It comes straight. You crimp the conductor and wire here, and then I fed this in through the boot. And then once I got it up underneath this portion of the boot, I went ahead and just bent it. The conductor bent some out that was coming through, but I bent it the rest of the way to make the 90. So actually, that didn't turn out too bad. 1 down, 8 to go, because I have the coil wire to do as well. So I am going to time lapse the rest of these and then let you know, show them to you after I'm done. This was number 3. So I am going to go ahead. I got a red pen here. I'm just going to write on the end of the boot, number 3. I'll probably go switch to a Sharpie because I'm sure, yeah, that's going to come right off. But I'll switch to a Sharpie. I'll go grab a Sharpie, and that's going to be, I'll label them there. Cheers, everybody. Time for a beer, too. All right, everyone. After some struggles, I have, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new spark plug wires made. I did it different than what they said in the instructions, but it works. So I have the coil wire left, and I figured that one I would actually do a whole video for you so you guys can see what I did differently. This is just getting the same end on both sides, so I'm gonna measure it. I've been giving myself a little extra because on the number 5 wire, I've been just cutting it right there to the boot, but then I had a problem and I had to cut it back a little bit. So number 5's a little shorter than the one that came off the car. I think it'll still work, I hope, but we'll find out. But so I've been going like an inch past. So lobster claws to cut to length. These, there's a little bit of fabric in there around that center conductor that those just don't seem to want to cut. So I just hit it with the razor knife real quick. I've been junking that. Now you got to expose the center conductor. There's a black insulation and a white insulation, and they have this, the holes in there. You're supposed to be able to push it through there and then cut it, and your knife isn't supposed to cut into the center conductor. Well, it's just as hard to push this through that hole as it is through the boot that I was having so much problem with. So what I've been just doing is just cutting it on the bench. I've just been rolling it, cutting down a little bit. You'll feel it go through the black outer layer first. Just go slow. You'll feel it when it breaks through that first layer, and then I lost my spot. And then the white layer I don't know if you guys can see that in there, but there's a white layer, and then you just keep going around. You'll feel it just real gently cut into that. And I just been marking or cutting the white one just a little bit, and then once it gets cut a little bit, it'll you can break it and then expose the center conductor. there's the center conductor. It's not nicked or anything. Take your copper piece here, and I'm going to try to make this the same bend as this one. So I just push that back under, and you tuck that so it's tucked between here and the wire for crimp purposes. And then I just line up the black right to the edge of the copper. And this is in the instructions. They say use a pair of needle nose to crimp these, to give them a first crimp on the insulator, the wire insulator, just to kind of hold it there. And then this little crimp tool actually is not too bad. You lay it in there, and I've just been kind of centering it. Take the other piece, push it down by hand a little bit. Well, obviously it twisted a little bit on me. There we go. Center conductor still tucked underneath there. I just push that down a little bit by hand. And then they say pinch it in a vise. I've been using a little C-clamp. It works fine. I line the C-clamp right up in the middle of that and start tightening it down. And it'll pinch. You'll see this gap right here between the two blocks closing, and I just run it down tight. And back it off. That didn't get quite closed there, so I'll move it a little closer to that end and give it one more pinch to close that gap up there. There it is. Back it off. And then I just grab this little ear, kind of move it out. Work that out of there. And that's your crimp. And you can see the center conductor is bent back under. So the center conductor's got a wire wrapped around it, and that makes the connection to the copper brass piece here. And I'm pretty much in line, so they should be facing the same direction. I take the boot, push it in till you can see it in there. And then I just start, got to be a little rough on them, but just kind of start pulling opening up that elbow in there by pulling that down and just kind of working a little bit. Once I get it to this point, I end up switching hands, pushing with my right, but just the way it's been working for me. It's a little bit of a struggle, I ain't gonna lie. Now I got it up to where the black insulator is getting ready to go into the boot. Oh, that one slid in pretty good. And it already popped out over here, so now I just run this to cover the brass. There it is. Now it's kind of angled looking, and you can I've just been pushing my thumb right there and then taking my finger and just bending that up to the 90, and then pushing that in a little bit to get it lined up. And we're gonna have to massage that around a little bit, but there we go. A little bit more in. And there it is. There's the coil wire. It's a little shallower than theirs, but we'll see if it works when we get it out to the car. It's about the same, and maybe a little bit shallower than the stock ones too. So I don't know, maybe I did them wrong. We'll find out. But there's the coil wire, 8 plug wires. A lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Cheers, everybody. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Got all those made and having another frosty cold one. Kenny's working today, so he wasn't here enjoying in the fun, but I'll pick this up tomorrow. We'll go install them. And, well, I guess I'll have to throw the battery back in Goldie and see if she fires up and they work. But, yeah, that'll be tomorrow. For tonight, cheers, everybody. Cheers, brother. Sorry you had to work. Ray, Two Drunk Brothers Garage, out for the night. Hey everybody, it's Ray, Two Drunk Brothers Garage. It's the next day. Back out here with Goldie. Got the plug wires there all ready to go. I'm gonna put them in her and see if I can fire her up with the new plug wires. And it's also Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Kenny, once again, has to work today, so he won't be joining in the fun and games. So I got underneath here, and no drips off the bottom of the fuel hose there. So that hopefully fixed most of that problem. I'm gonna go ahead and get these plug wires rerouted or reinstalled, and I'll just set up a time lapse for this, and then go grab the battery, put it back in, and get her fired up. I got all the new wires on there. I forgot to put dielectric grease on there, so I'll probably pull all the boots off and hit it with a little dielectric grease and then stick them back on. But before I do the coil wire, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but there's a wee bit of corrosion down in the coil port there, so I'm gonna clean that up before I plug the coil wire in. Okay, I got them all on there. Got the coil connector cleaned out. Just a little 409 and rag. Put some dielectric down there. Everything's plugged in. I still got to go grab the battery. The plug wire holders that go right there, they don't fit over these 8.5 millimeter wires. I think some come in the kit. I'm gonna have to go up in the garage and see if I can adapt them on here some way and maybe clean that up a little bit. But if we can't get it, no big deal. I mean, it's Goldie. She's rough, but she's a runner. All right, I got the battery in. I got the clicky clack all hooked up. I'm gonna go ahead and hook the coil up, so she should fire up now. I'm also never checked to make sure the alternator was charging last time, so while I got it running, I'm just gonna see if the alternator's working. But here we go. Might have to give her a few pumps because I know we don't have the choke working. There she goes. Kind of hard to do one-handed, and with the clicky clack over here. All right, I might have to set you guys down here and do this without filming. All right, she fired right up as soon as I was able to run the throttle a little bit, give her a little throttle while I was cranking, and Goldie's just sitting there and purring. Now I'm going to go ahead and check to see if I got. Just want to see if the alternator's charging or not. Got the red there. And I'm going to say our alternator's dead. Should be seeing like 14, which is probably why the gen light was on. So, something else for us to check. To change out, or maybe it's because we don't have a wire on the back of that right there. I need to find out what that is for. All right, everybody. Cheers. Cheers to you, brother. I'm gonna wrap this video up on Goldie here. If you guys are interested in following along, give us a like, subscription would be awesome. Comment, as always, we try to answer all of them. But Kenny's coming over in a couple days. He doesn't work, and we're going to do a few more little things on Goldie. So please stay tuned if you're interested. We sure do appreciate it, everybody, and have a beautiful, wonderful Mother's Day. Cheers to all the moms. Ray, Ken remotely, Two Drunk Brothers Garage.